What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Wade Berry Fitness Channel. I am Wade Berry, and today I want to speak on something that might ruffle some feathers. That's not my intention when I'm making this video, but I just think it's a conversation that needs to be had, and I think it's something that people need to be made aware of because this is something that a lot of people don't even know about. I think people are just busy. I think people trust their doctors, which I'm not telling you not to trust your doctors, but there's certain things that you shouldn't rely on your doctor for, and this is really what this video is about. And I think people are just, they don't have time to really do their homework or peek behind the curtain of the medical industry. So that's why I wanted to make a video. And before I get started, yes, I got my notes here. So what I'm about to unpack and lay out for y'all, there's a lot to it. So I wanted to make sure I had all my statistics ready to go and I was giving y'all good information. But what the topic is doctors and their lack of education when it comes to nutrition. And before we get started, let me just say this. I'm not trying to tell you how to feel or what decisions to make or how to move forward when it comes to your health journey. But I am going to unpack and lay out good information. I'm going to just give you good information. I'm going to lay it all out on the table in front of you, and I'll let you make the decision, and I'll let you do with this information what you want to do. I'll put it to you like that. So first things first, we're going to talk about doctors and dietitians. First, we're going to unpack doctors. Your doctor or your specialist spent about 10,000 to 15,000 hours in med school, right? Give or take. That's a ballpark number, but the average med school experience, they spend about 10,000 to 15,000 hours in med school, right? And they do everything from labs, exams, sitting in lectures, studying. I mean, there's a lot to med school. I know people that have went through med school, and it's grueling. So I'm not trying to discount that in any way, shape, or form. But out of those 10,000 to 15,000 hours that they experience in med school, right? They only spend 20 hours, 20. They spend 20 hours studying nutrition, okay? That's 2% of their overall med school experience is dedicated to nutrition, right? So lock those numbers in your head real quick before we move forward. 10,000 to 15,000 hours total, only 20 hours spent on nutrition. That's 2% of their med school experience. Remember that. Okay, fast forward. Now they're out of med school and they're in the real world. They got their own practice. They're working at a hospital, at an urgent care, wherever they ended up. They're out in the real world now, and studies show that the studies show it's 60 to 80%. But just for the sake of the video, we'll say 75% just to get a round number. Because me personally, I think the number that I'm about to speak on, I think it is closer to 80%. But we'll say 75% for the sake of the video. Studies show that 75% of the people that go into a doctor's office on a daily basis are there because of an ailment that is nutrition related, whether it be overeating, undereating, eating a mostly processed food diet, not eating the right amount of the right macronutrients, some type of deficiency, whatever it is. They are there, 75% of the people that go to a doctor are there because of something, the root cause is nutrition, right? So 75% of the people that your doctor sees on a daily basis are there because of something that they only spent 2% of their med school experience studying. Are you seeing where I'm going with this? If that doesn't alarm you, let me tell you something. It should. That is so wild. And when I first realized that and kind of did the homework and crunched the numbers, man, it took me a couple days to get over that. Like, that really blew my mind, because I don't understand how 75% of your patients, their problems can be solved by something that you only spent 20 of your 10,000 hours studying. That's wild to me, and that should be wild to you as well. But I don't want to stay on this too long. I want to move forward. Now, a good doctor is going to tell you, hey, when they realize that you got something that's nutrition related, whether heart, blood pressure, cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, obesity, whatever. A good doctor, they're probably going to prescribe you a medication, because that's just what they're trained to do. I can't bash them for that. That's just what they were trained to do in med school. You solve the problem by prescribing a medication, or possible surgeries, or running a test to see what other root causes there might be. They're not trained to solve the problem at the root, because that's not what med school taught them to do. So anyways, a good doctor will say, hey man, what you're dealing with, I can help you, but let me refer you to a dietitian. Like, because this is kind of out of my wheelhouse. A good doctor is going to realize, man, I didn't spend much time studying nutrition, and the ailment that you have is nutrition related. So let me send you to a dietitian, right? And here's my issue with dietitians. I ain't got no issues with dietitians. I know dietitians, and they're good people, but they are a product of a broken system. And I'll explain to you why. Whenever your doctor refers you to a dietitian, just know that you are going to sit down in front of somebody and talk to somebody that was educated by a curriculum that was ultimately funded and manipulated by pharmaceutical companies. And I'll prove it to you. That whenever somebody goes to college, right, in order to be a registered dietitian, you need a bachelor's degree or a master's degree in dietetics, right? So whenever you go to college and you start taking your courses and you start studying to be a dietitian, what most dietitians don't know, and everyone that I've talked to personally, they didn't know this, they didn't even think nothing of it, but the curriculum that they begin to study whenever they go to college is put together by a company called ACEND, and I'm going to use my notes so I'll make sure I'm pronouncing this right. It's Accreditation Council for Education in Nutrition and Dietetics, right? The acronym for that agency is ACEND, right? ACEND, they put their curriculum together based off of data that they pull from government agencies. And they pull that data from government agencies like the World Health Organization, the CDC, the National Institute of Health, NIH, USDA, FDA. There might be one or two more, but I know them 5 for sure, right? All 5 of them are government agencies, right? So ACEND, the people that put together the curriculum and send it to the colleges and say, hey, this is what your students need to study, and they have to pass our courses in our accredited program to become a dietitian, right? They build that curriculum based off of government agencies, the data that the government agencies give them, right? Okay. But what people don't realize is those government agencies, they're funded by pharmaceutical companies. Not only pharmaceutical companies, taxpayer dollars fund them too. You pay your taxes, and I believe it's Congress, if I'm not mistaken. Congress then takes your taxpayer dollars and gives it to these different government agencies and make sure that helps fund them so they can keep running and doing tests and publishing data in journals and just continue running, right? That's one way that they get funded, is taxpayer dollars. Another way they get funded is by pharmaceutical companies, right? And what people don't realize is, and we have plenty of proof of this. Like you can go on those government agencies I just named. You can go on their donor list and see their annual reports, and you could see clear as day. This isn't like some hidden information. This is public information that pharmaceutical companies send them a lot of money on a yearly basis, right? So then you have to ask the question, okay, why are these pharmaceutical companies sending them so much money? And the answer to that is, whether you like it or not, or whether you want to believe it or not, is so they can have a say in what studies take priority and what the outcome of these studies look like and what the studies and the findings of these studies, what gets published or not. Or they can fund, because they're funding, they have a say so in who's conducting these studies within the agency. They have so much influence on what data gets released and published and what gets to, back to my original reason why I'm breaking this down, the data that gets to ACEND, the agency that puts together the curriculum that your dietitian is studying, the data that they're receiving has been manipulated and influenced by pharmaceutical companies. And that's just a fact. And if you really think about it, like logically, why would a pharmaceutical company that profits off of people being sick and needing medical intervention, needing some type of prescription, some type of vaccine, whatever, why would they put together a curriculum why would they provide data to a agency that's putting together a curriculum that ensures people age gracefully and have no ailments and don't need any medical intervention? Why would they do that? The answer is they wouldn't. That's not how it works, and that's not reality. They are donating money to these government agencies and manipulating the outcome of these studies. And then ACEND is getting manipulated data and pharmaceutical company influenced data. And they're putting together this curriculum, and your dietitian is studying this stuff. And I know this to be true because I've talked to so many dietitians, and they're great people. This ain't no anti-dietitian video, not in the least. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But when you get to talking to them, you can tell based off of just the recommendations and the things they say and the language that they use that they've all studied the same curriculum. And they're like a product of just this government funded or pharmaceutical funded, government constructed curriculum that is just full of bad information. Like, I talked to one girl, and I'm just using this as an example. This ain't all dietitians, but I remember it was recently. That's why I'm bringing it up. She told me with a straight face and was dead serious that 50% of your daily food consumption should come from a carbohydrate. And she was dead serious. Like, she meant it when she said it. And I just looked at her like, man, where did you hear that? And then they'll tell you to prioritize fiber over protein, which is an insane statement to say. And it's just bad information. I'm not saying like these are one or two conversations I've had. I've had conversations with tons of dietitians, and they just don't know what they're talking about. And it's not their fault. Like, I want to reemphasize that. It's not their fault. They just came out of college and they studied a curriculum that was manipulated, and it was created to ensure that people stay sick and they continue to develop ailments over time and they continue to need medical intervention. That's just a fact, man. And if you don't want to believe that, then that's on you. Continue listening to your dietitian or continue listening to your doctor, which I hope you ain't listening to your doctor. But continue listening to them people and just see how you feel. I promise you, man, you'll continue to have issues. And again, it's not because they're bad people or they're like, maliciously trying to hurt people. Like, I don't think there's nothing evil going on behind the curtain. They're just a product of a curriculum, and they're a product of a system that is heavily influenced by money, who's spending the most money. And the people who's spending the most money are people that are profiting off of sick people. And I just don't know any other way to tell you that. So what I am saying is, usually after I get done breaking it down, people are just sitting there looking at me like, dang, bro, you just ruined my day. What do I do now? You gave me all the doom and gloom. Like, well, all right, if I ain't supposed to listen to my doctor and these dietitians have been compromised, then who do I listen to? And the answer is, you find somebody that's been doing this a long time, and they didn't get into this for money. And they got into this because they were pursuing truth, and they wanted to age gracefully, and they saw family at a young age. They got exposed to sickness and saw people get sick and realized that food is medicine and lifestyle is medicine, and what you put in your mouth on a daily basis determines what the rest of your life looks like. Your daily decisions really do influence and have the final say so on how you age and your health. So you have to you can do your own research, which, I mean, I strongly encourage that too, but there's just so much to this. It's going to take you years and years and years to get to the truth. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm just being honest with you. There's a lot to learning nutrition and its effects on the human body, and washing your brain of what you've been told by these government agencies and what you've just heard echoed for your whole life by, influencers and doctors and dietitians and all these self-proclaimed experts. You got to like cleanse your brain of that, and you got to start like from ground zero and just pursue truth. And it's not easy to find truth in this day and age because there's just so much bad information out there. So it's like, I just encourage you to find somebody that has really put in their 10,000 hours, but they put in their 10,000 hours in the pursuit of truth, and not to make money, or not to just say they're a doctor, or because their dad was a doctor, so they want to be a doctor. So they just went and fell victim to this vicious system that has been created, just like their parents did. I encourage you to do a combination of two things. Do your own homework, and then find somebody that can really help you, that really knows what they're talking about. And you ain't gonna find that in a registered dietitian or your doctor. And again, I'm not bashing neither one of them, but I'm telling you, man, they are a product of a broken system that wants to keep you sick, because the system is created by people that profit off of sick people. I don't know any other way to say it. So, and this ain't no soft pitch for you to come work with me. I got plenty of clients I'm working with. I don't need to take on anymore. I'm doing fine. But if you do need help, and you're like, man, I'm at my wit's end, I don't know what my next step is supposed to look like, because I tried what my doctor said and I didn't really make any progress. I didn't feel any different. And then that doctor sent me to a dietitian, and I did what they said, and I'm still having trouble. And man, I just don't know what to do next. If that's where you're at, reach out to me, man, and I could show you how to do this for real, because I've been studying this stuff for 20 plus years. Like, I didn't take the med school route, and I didn't take the dietetics program route. I started pursuing this because at a young age, I just realized that what you ate mattered. Like, I know that sounds simple, but playing sports, I wanted the advantage over my opponent. And you realize that you can get the advantage by lifting weights and eating the right things. So I just became obsessed with nutrition and how the human body responds to the right macronutrients. So again, this ain't no soft pitch to come work with me. But if you do need help, reach out to me and I'll show you how to do this for real, man. It's not complicated, but it is at the same time. And it's hard to explain because everybody's different. That's what I'm getting at. Like, it's simple once you know the human body, but what works for John ain't gonna work for Jill. So it's like it's an individual thing, and that's just, you figure out how to help each person by just having a conversation with them. So I'm saying that to say, if you do need help, just reach out to me and let's have a conversation. And I could show you how to eat and age gracefully, and you ain't got to keep spending money on these dietitians that don't know smoke, man, honestly. So if you need help, reach out to me and I'll show you how to do this the right way. Peace.